very crucial chapter. Every chapter is crucial, but there are certain chapters that are more crucial than others. This is a fundamental chapter, so much so that the children in the Chabad schools, they learn by heart Tanya, and not every chapter, but there's some more key chapters than others. So there's the beginning parts of Tanya, so starting from the beginning. And then there's chapter 32, speaking about Avas Yisrael, and chapter 41. Chapter 41, in one word, Ha'aveda, divine service. What did we learn till now? We learned till now that when you do a mitzvah, when you do God's command, you do what God wants, right? Eating matzah on Pesach. Let's use that as an example. You eat matzah. The physical act of eating matzah, you bring godliness into this world. You draw down a connection, a divine attachment with God Almighty in the act of eating that matzah, in the act itself. However, that's without intent, without conscious awareness of what you're doing, the importance of it, the significance, the how that resonates in a spiritual way. But you draw down godliness. However, it's not an illuminated mitzvah. When you have kavanah, intent, and intent means here lishma, for God's sake, to connect to God through this mitzvah. Not doing it out of rote or not doing it for other reasons, to connect to God. And to do for God means you're motivated for God's sake, and that means the love of God and the fear/awe of God, which are two wings, and you need both of them. Both the love and awe, just like a bird needs two wings to fly. So likewise, we need two wings in order that our mitzvah should fly. Where should it fly? To stand before God, and specifically that it is in the divine realm, in the worlds of either Bria, Yetzira, or Asiya. We're not going to get into all the nuance there. In previous classes, we discussed that. But it's the kavanah, the intent, the mindfulness that we have, the awareness of this mitzvah that we're doing to connect to God. And as we'll learn today a little more about that allows it to fly up. So you need both love and awe. You can't have just love. All you need is love is wrong. You need awe, or fear/awe. Both. This chapter now, the Alter Rebbe turns things, in a way, somewhat around, and adds something, a new dimension. I guess, of course, every teaching has the nuance, the chiddush, the novel idea. And he begins with the words that however one must bear in mind that Reishis Avodah V'Ikra V'Sharsha, that the beginning of divine service as well as its core, and those words are not redundant. Beginning means the beginning, but that doesn't mean it extends. The core means it's not just the beginning, but it's the core of service, of divine service. And root means that it's just like the root grows into becoming the tree, right? From it extends into a tree. So likewise, it extends into everything. What is that? That although we say that to do good, you're motivated, to do good for God, the 248 positive commandments, you're motivated by the love of God, and to stay away from negativity, from evil, you're motivated by the fear/awe of God, to stay away, refrain from 365 prohibitions of the Torah. However, nonetheless, you can't just have love in order to do for God. The root, the beginning, the core, and the root is really fear. Fear that either manifests itself in one's heart or at least in one's mind. Now, what do we mean fear here? Right? What does it mean fear? It's not so much awe, but it's actually fear. So it's not fear of punishment, and we've discussed this many times. Fear of punishment is not in the jargon of Tanya. Is there a concept of fear of God and of being punished? Yeah, of course there is. As we know, there's a consequence to everything that we do. You know, if one, excuse the expression, pigs out, we know there's a consequence. You're going to get a stomach ache. You're going to feel lousy, right? Whatever it be, you ate, you ate too much, and it's just like, right? There's a consequence. That's a punishment, right? A natural consequence. So likewise, for everything that we do that is wrong, there's a natural consequence that God creates in this world, a spiritual natural consequence, and even a physical one, as a result. But that's not at all what we're talking about here in Tanya. That is elementary, Watson. That is childlike Judaism. This is adult Judaism. So it's a much more profound idea. So what does it mean exactly? So the Alter Rebbe explains. If you meditate on the following, and this is an important meditation, take note. As everything we take note, but in particular here. That bear in mind the greatness of God, the infinite greatness of God, and his kingship. And his kingship extends throughout all the worlds. Right? They tell a story of back in the times of the Tsar of Russia, that the little farmer, Jewish farmer, who never left his yishuv, he never left his area, his little village. One day he had to travel to the big city, and he's traveling 10 kilometers. I say, are we still in Russia? So wow, amazing. Travels another 10, 15 kilometers, and he's asking, are we still in Russia? He says, yeah, we're still in Russia. So wow, what an amazing king. What a king. So everything is based on your perspective. If you never left your village and you go out 25 kilometers, whoa, what a czar. Look what kind of dominion he has. Well, God Almighty, his dominion extends to all the higher spiritual worlds, to this lower world. And that itself inspires a sense of awe. And furthermore, in what manner is he extend his dominion? He fills the world in every iota. He fills the world, meaning just as the soul fills the body, and it gives the eye the capability of seeing and the ear to hear. So God fills everything uniquely in this world at the same time. He's beyond this world. He encompasses everything in this world, meaning he's beyond it and not defined by the fact that he's creates everything in its unique manner, right? And yet, God is creator. That is intimately found and ultimately beyond being found at the same time. That business card as creator he puts aside. That's not his true interest. He leaves aside all the creatures of the higher worlds and creatures of the lower worlds, and he does not bestow his kingship upon them. Is he their creator? Of course he is. But kingship is not what he bestows upon them. He uniquely bestows his kingship upon the Jewish people. This is the meditation, right? On the Jewish people in general, and on me specifically. This is my meditation, right? On me specifically, he bestows his kingship. Therefore, I am obligated to say that for my sake, the world was created. Meaning that if God's kingship is bestowed upon me specifically, meaning he is eagerly anticipating me and my response to this fact that that the entire world was created just for me and how I am now going to act. So in my part, I accept his kingship and I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to serve. And how? With whatever it is. Could be menial tasks, like taking a coin and putting it into a charity box, or saying a blessing over a piece of food, or that the food is kosher for Passover now. Menial things, not lofty, earth-shattering, small little acts of servitude. Further, the meditation goes, and this is one of the 12 passages that the Rebbe instituted many years ago that we should know, that V'hinei Hashem nitzav alav, and behold, God himself stands over the person, Amalei kol haaretz kvedei, and the whole world is full of God's glory. Yeah. Not only being omnipresent does he see everything, but moreover, mabit alav, and he scrutinizes me, the individual in particular. And he searches my innermost thoughts and emotions, is the meaning, if I'm serving God as is fitting. Now, you know, a person could take that is the meditation. So we understand God as a creator of everything, and yet his kingship, which is a deeper relationship that he wants, not as creator, but that we are his servants, is what he is collectively of the Jewish people and individually of me, he's looking at. Am I, and he's standing there, seeing me, am I at this moment serving him as is fitting? Now, he's not doing that because he wants to punish me. He's doing that I should be aware of the truth. That is the truth. And when I'm aware of that truth, what will that do? What will that do? Well, later on, the Alter Rebbe will explain this idea, but it's pretty obvious. God is present. He's real. And he's giving me everything that I need in order that I should be able to serve him as fitting. So first, the point over here is that I'm here to serve, not to be served. Human nature is I want to be served, something that we've spoken many times. That's the human condition. Here we're rising above and we need to meditate about it because it doesn't come natural. It comes natural to want to be served. Now, it doesn't have to be served steak and potatoes or some vegetarian delicacy. It could be served in spirituality, that I experience a spiritual high in connecting to God. So it's not about serving. It's not about menial tasks of doing a simple thing like, eating matzah, and doing it within the time frame that you're supposed to, with the amount that you're supposed to. Like, come on, big deal. I get the idea. I'm doing what you want. I get the idea. I have to eat the whole matzah. I have to do it within this time frame. I have, yeah. Why? Because it's the menial task that the king has put upon us, and that's what he wants. That's what he wants. That's what we're talking about. So, and God is there present, imminently present, looking at me and seeing if I am serving him as fitting. Well, what's that going to do? It's not about a fear of punishment. It's a fear of a reality here. God is present. And well, if God's present and seeing if I'm serving him as I should, so what will that do? It will change the way I am going to respond to any given situation. So if I'm dealing with somebody who has really hurt me in some way and said something, unbecoming of them, not right. But if God's present and he's seeing him, I'm serving him as fitting, so what will that mean? Oh, well, if God's present, then I'm going to respond as God is present, as opposed to that he's not present and searching my inner reality, my inner thoughts and emotions to see where I am holding and where I'm at. When having that awareness is a complete game changer. Just this meditation, and now we can understand the importance of this particular chapter. As I mentioned, that our children in our schools, they learn this by heart, because if we can meditate upon this from once a day, or at least once in a while, we meditate upon this. It's a complete game changer that we have, we kind of drill into us this awareness that God is truly present. Not that he wants to punish me because, look at Yankel. He blew it. He didn't meet up his potential. No, it's a loving God that wants us lovingly to give to us. So what's he giving to us? The beginning, the core, and the root of what it means to serve him is to know that he's present, he's looking. And that should give us a great idud, a great uplift, a great focus in our lives. So, as the Alter Rebbe says, if we meditate upon this profoundly, and the more it becomes integrated in a part of my headspace, then the more I'm going to be able to truly serve the way I'm supposed to serve. The Alter Rebbe now goes into, and it's actually today's class in particular, in some details of what that means. So we're learning Torah, right? We're learning Tanya. So if we think, and it doesn't need to be a very lengthy, contemplation, but in the words that are being uttered here from the Tanya, that in this, ink on parchment, or letters, are the wisdom of God. Enclosed in there is literally the wisdom of God, and God's wisdom is one with him, with the Ein Sof, with the limitlessness of the essence of God. And we just meditate upon that. That brings a sense of awe. Wow. Awesome stuff that we're doing over here. Furthermore, the Alter Rebbe goes and explains that when we put on tefillin, Chabad custom is not to put on tefillin during Chol HaMoed, but the mitzvah of tefillin, or the mitzvah of tzitzis, that we're drawing upon us through tefillin. The tefillin goes against the heart and the mind, that there is and the chapters that are in the tefillin of the chapters from the Torah that are written there on ink on parchment, write about the servitude or the capability of binding the mind and the heart that they should work in unison to serve God. In other words, our mind knows one thing, knows one truth, and our heart feels another self-absorbed reality, me. And what the tefillin help to do is to bring the truth of God and the awareness of God that our mind has, and to subjugate it and to unite it with our feelings of the heart, that it too should come to recognize and to connect and desire to connect with God. That's an understanding of the mitzvah of tefillin. Talis is, actually, I have one here. I just finished davening. Right, the talis that we put on is the meditation, is how God hovers over us. It's interesting, we put the talis first and then the tefillin, because first there is the all-encompassing light of God, and then the tefillin is about internalizing the light of God to come together. So the talis is about an encompassing light of God, that we are absorbed and nullified to that all-encompassing light of the divine that brings us to be nullified before Him. That's in brief the idea. Now, and which brings us through both of these mitzvahs, for example, of a submission to God, submission that's a submission that is beyond us, like the talis is beyond us, that encompasses and covers us, encompassing us. So it's the light of God that is beyond us, that we are subjugate ourselves to. And then there's a light of God that is internalized within us, like the tefillin, that its message is to internalize, that we are ready to subjugate ourselves. And why are we subjugating ourselves? In order to serve. Avodah. The word avodah means to serve. Avodah is eved. The word avodah, to serve, also comes from the word servant. To serve like a servant. And what does a servant do? Is a servant doing it out of love? No. Doing it out of a self-abnegation, a self-nullification, putting aside themselves to serve their master. That's the beginning. How about love? I mean, aren't we in a world that's full of love? And it shouldn't be out of love? That's not the beginning. Because love is not service. Love is like a child serving a parent out of love. It's wonderful. And it's an element that we've spoken about previously, and we'll speak more about it, that is, yes, absolutely a part of the divine service. But it's not the beginning. It's not the core and not the root of our divine service. Because divine service is exactly that, service. Not about my feelings, which is more about me, how I feel about it, but it's service. And service is, there's a king who's the master, and then there's a servant who serves. Can the servant have also love? Absolutely. And we'll get there. We'll get there. It's a different mode of service, or a different element in the divine service, but it's not the beginning. It's not the core or the root, because service is service. You got to do what you got to do, because this is what the master wants. And when you understand that there's a presence of that master, that king, who is to see inside of me really where I'm holding and, where am I at? So that gives a little jolt to the person that, I got to get my act together. And because of the consequence, that if not, that's our human condition. That's our animal soul talking. But just, it's real. It's the truth. It's a presence of God that when I have that, it just gives me the capability of truly serving him in a fitting way. That's what counts. I hope that's clear. That's today's class. So what does that mean for us? We just had 3 days of 2 days Yontiv and a Shabbos. So, just to share, I could, say that I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored. Why wasn't I bored? Even though it was just me and my wife, there's no one else in the house. It's not a household of kids that you got to take care of. Our kids are taking care of their kids. And even though I have a son and daughter-in-law and 4 grandchildren 4 doors down, so they came to visit. They sat on the sidewalk, we in our window, and they jumped around and shared some things from their Passover Seder and the Haggadah. But that was a brief visit. For the most part, why? So why not bored for 3 days? Is because if you're here to serve, so you got to find out and figure out, how am I going to be a service to God, even though there's no one else around but me, or in my case, me and my wife, but even if you're just alone, how am I going to serve now? If I'm alone, or if I'm just with, somebody's only with their spouse for 3 days, so, it can be wonderful. But it can also be, difficulties and challenges. Why? Because I'm looking how to be served. I'm looking at how I can, how can I enjoy this time rather than how I can serve in this time. So if I'm looking how to serve in this time, so then, can always figure out something, what God needs me, what the master, what the king needs. And that when I'm aware that he is looking inside of me and can see what's really going on in me and my thoughts and my emotions, then I can, more or less quickly refocus, or if I, need be, to do what I got to do. That's how you deal with Corona. That's the beginning. It's the beginning. It's the core. It's the root of how you can deal with Corona. Because how? Divine service. God puts aside everything. Imagine, he's the creator of Corona. He puts it all aside. Why? Because he wants me to, he wants to be the king over me. So, I got to figure it out. Hold on 1 second. Give me a moment, folks. Hello? I'm just on my tiny class. I'll be finished in a few moments.
Ma sleeping?
No, she on a walk.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave this here.
What is it?
Lox and pickles.
Oh, okay. Show you.
Yeah, I'm leaving here on the steps. I'll call Ma.
Okay. Yeah, no, she later. She doesn't have her phone now.
Oh, okay, so I'll message her.
Okay. Sorry, folks. That was my son. Yeah, so that's how we deal with Corona. I mean, from today's class at least. Every time we've figured out something on how we can deal with it. All right, folks. How was your Pesach Seders? If you have something to share, please share. A reminder that if you private message me your email, we're working on some other good stuff to share. And a reminder of Tanya Rabbi on Instagram and other places. A reminder that this learning was for the Refuah Shlema of Moshe Baruch HaKoyen Ben Zisel. He should have a speedy recovery. Okay, we have Linda with us from the Netherlands, and Jan from Mexico. Susanna from Hollywood, Florida. Andrew from New Jersey, and Rodrigo from Brazil. Jane, good morning to you in Illinois. Cynthia, Boker Tov, and Lita from Argentina. Welcome. And Alfred. No. Ahmed from, I'm not certain. KSA? What's that? I don't know, it's familiar. Marjorie from Dania Beach, Florida. Hello. And Anna from Norway. Peter. Okay. All right, folks, if you have something to share, some questions, I'll get a chance later. Right now, I bid everybody a good Moed, a Shavua Tov, a good week, and all good things. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from my home in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day.